Let's welcome on board Vaishali Parekh as well as Sandeep Sabharwal. We already have Kunal Bothra in the studios and talk about what they're making of the market right now. Sandeep, hi, afternoon. Let's start with the Bajaj Housing Finance IPO because that's where the FOMO feeling is setting in. The stock for a second consecutive day up in the green. But what is the message out there for people who want to participate right now? Should they be completely sitting on the sidelines waiting for the frenzy to settle down?
Yeah, Aisha, financial is a space where there are many companies, and there are many companies which do not have a different business model than Bajaj Housing Finance. So it's not a unique space. Like it's not like some new technology company or some different businesses come and listed there which you cannot value. So this company can be easily valued. The the price at which it's trading is crazy, and there's no way you can justify these valuations when large, established, diversified financials are trading at half, one third, or maybe 25% of the valuation of this company. So I think, like with many other IPOs, this is just fancy trading in a stock which has limited floating stock.
Bit of a frenzy on this one, and is it a frenzy on Ola Electric as well? And now it's the brokerage houses which are joining the bandwagon because today Bank of America as well as Goldman Sachs initiated coverage. They have a target price suggesting an up move of almost 30 to 40%. The stock after listing, Sandeep, had run up quite drastically, but from there was a bit of consolidation that happened. Now, do you think it's ripe already for the next leg of growth? What's the view on Ola Electric?
Yeah, I read through some of these notes. The ridiculous logics have been given. A company which is losing market share on a monthly basis, they are giving forecasts based on them either maintaining or improving market share, which is not going to happen. So the legacy players in the electric vehicle side have become uh, much more aggressive in terms of model launches, in terms of what they are trying to do. And I think they will be the bigger players in this market going forward. Ola Electric will continue to lose market share. And if the incentives also keep on reducing, then their losses also will not reduce. So I'm not sure what logic they are looking for.
Not sure of the logic, but just to extend that point further, Sandeep, because we're going through the YTD data as to how the sales have really stacked up, and it seems like EV hasn't really picked up, at least in terms of absolute number. It's still the hybrid models that are getting, more traction, or the CNG versions. Do you think, given this kind of construct, the likes of Maruti, etc., which were slow to begin with in the EV transition and were banking more on hybrid, they stand to gain better versus, let's say, M&M, for instance?
No, see, the four-wheeler passenger vehicle side, I think it's having a phase of consolidation where after a period of slightly good demand, the demand has moderated. So I think the demand is moderating across the board. Now we need to see whether the festival season leads to some revival, or whenever the monetary policy starts easing, we see some revival in growth, etc. So I don't think it's that way. But on the EV point, if you look at what's happening in Europe, if you look at what's happening in the US, the EV adoption has suddenly started falling off the cliff or becoming standstill as incrementally people don't see too much value in that transition at this stage. So where especially where oil prices are free to move, and in the US, I think the gas prices are at multi-year lows. I think that's the scenario today. And in India, also the market share increases are happening more because of incentives rather than conviction in the minds of buyers that this is what they need to do. So EV adoption has to grow, it will grow, but not at the pace at which what people are expecting.
Let me also welcome on board Vaishali Parekh. Vaishali wanted to understand what do you think is trade worthy within autos right now, because quite a bit of divergence, like we've been discussing.
Maruti, and I still do like Samvardhan because two wheelers already have seen a good run up. But I would say in the four wheelers, it should be Maruti at this level because it has been into a long consolidation phase. So once we see the stock about 12,400, 12,500, this could go towards 13,000, 13,200. So I guess risk reward wise also this is a favorable pick. And I would look at Motherson, as I said, that is still showing a lot of strength. It's an auto ancillary, so but I think that would go towards a target of 210 or so.
Okay, that's the take coming in right now on what Vaishali is picking up from within the auto pack or ancillaries rather. But Sandeep, you've been an investor in Interglobe Aviation. Now with SpiceJet getting into fundraising, etc., with that intended 3,000 crore rupee QIP, wanted to understand if you would diversify into SpiceJet too.
As a contrarian investor, I would like to, but then the risk in airlines is so much that it's not a question of slowdown and anything, because if they are unsuccessful, they run the risk of a shutdown. And that is the problem. So I think until and unless they do the fundraising, I would not like to venture into the stock at this point of time.
At venturing into SpiceJet as yet, but Vaishali, wanted your take regarding some of the big buzzers. Look at the up move on Prestige Estate in the last 2 minutes. We were just discussing the real estate pack with Kunal as well. But what within real estate would you pick? And the other stock which is coming up on my radar is Jio Financial Services. A bit of a perk up in the last few minutes, Vaishali.
So I would say yes, the cash category, the real estate are doing much better than the frontline DLF and this. So I would choose SOBA because Prestige has already got into momentum. Having said that, there still is a lot of upside, but I would choose SOBA now because still I think the volume is picking up and the momentum has just begun. So I would say I would give a buy recommendation on SOBA because after a very long consolidation, it's trying to come out of it, and the current price is 1851. So support of 1800, this stock can go towards 2000 also. So Shobha looks quite appealing to me. And for a quick FNO trade, it could be just DLF. Because that also is quite holding on quite well. So with 850 as stop loss, 880 as a trading target.
Okay, not just Bajaj Housing, but looking on Ola Electric, that's up over 7% as we speak right now. So really on a tear. There's Torrent Power as well. That's holding up quite smartly too. It's off from the day's highs, but it began the day pretty well. They at the RE Invest 2024 conference, they announced a commitment of about almost 64,000 crore rupees with a potential employment of 26,000 people as well. SpiceJet, of course, is something that we already addressed. So a couple of these stocks definitely are in focus. But the interesting one is CLSA and their note on financials, talking about HDFC Bank as to how, they're now looking at this one. They're saying many investors remain unexcited about HDFC Bank after the slow start to the year on the deposit accretion. And among the private sector banks, they're saying IndusInd Bank received some interest from investors. They believe that most investors are now awaiting the RBI decision on the MD continuity as well as the tenure now. Investors are incrementally more comfortable on a Bajaj Finance, which they also are quite positive on. Sandeep, you have liked an Axis and ICICI Bank, but would you now stretch beyond that list? Kotak, HDFC Bank perhaps?
The Kotak we bought as a contrarian bet, but it's not participated yet. So it's almost 3-4% up from where we actually bought into the stock. The reason I bought into that was that the valuations are now in line with most of the other large cap banks. Their NIMs are higher, and they have this uncertainty related to the.
We seem to have snapped that line. Just going to get back to Sandeep in just a second and get in his thoughts on Kotak, or for that matter, even HDFC Bank. But Kunal, what do you now see on the charts for the Nifty Bank? Because you're not really seeing continual strength.
No, I think the strength is there, but it's a bit more staggered. Yes, it's not, the momentum is not there, and I believe that part of it is because of the way many of these large cap private sector banking stocks have been very slow in terms of their trajectory. The only stronger stock which we can point out from the private sector large cap name is ICICI Bank, the stock which has done exceptionally well in the last 2-3 weeks. and I think that's more or less like a leader in terms of the price performance so far, because many of the other stocks, the likes of Kotak, HDFC Bank, etc., these stocks are just about trying to chug along, still way off from their lifetime high levels. But I believe that with strength emerging from one major stock from the private sector banking name, it should eventually trickle to the other pack as well. So my sense is that the Bank Nifty eventually would get back into a very strong surge of momentum. I think it's now time of maybe short-term patience over here for traders and investors. And anyone who's holding on to long positions on the Bank Nifty, even on the future side, I think with 51,000 to 5,500 as a closing support, I think it's a very good strategy to hold on to the long positions over here, and in fact even try to build further long positions for large cap names like ICICI Bank as well.
Okay, point taken. So that's the mood of the Bank Nifty and its constituents right now. But time to take some BTSC trades now. Vaishali, what's on your buy today, sell tomorrow list, or is it STBT on something?
No, I would go with Kunal. Actually, ICICI is very much on my radar, and I think I'm looking for a target of 1280. So with a stop loss of 1250, ICICI is my BTST.
Kunal, what about your BTSC apart from ICICI Bank?
So I'll go with NTPC. That's a chart which is looking attractive. In fact, the stock is at the verge of a frag pattern breakout about the 417 mark. So expecting the stock to provide the breakout in the next couple of days. Buy with a target of 434, stop loss at 405. And second would be Aban Aditya Birla Sun Life AMC. That's a chart which is also completing a swing breakout about the 758 mark. So buy with a target of 800, stop loss at 730.
Okay, bunch of stock ideas coming in over there, both BTST trades coming in from our experts. But let's also talk about the FTSE rejig, and they've announced the semi-annual review of the index changes. The adjustment, of course, is going to be effective from September 20th and can lead to inflows of about $1 billion. What are the stocks that are added and removed? Sumit is here with that list.
Well, the flows related to the FTSE September 2024 semi-annual review changes are expected to happen on September 28th. The flows are expected to come in the last half an hour of trade, and these changes are comprising to the FTSE All World Index, and this rebalancing could lead to an inflow of close to $1 billion as per analyst estimates. Now, as per IFL, GET&D, Endurance Tech, KEI Industries, Hitachi Energy, Lloyd Metal could see an inflow of anywhere between 17 to 53 million US dollars, which is nearly 2.125 times that 20-day average volume. Apart from that, it's IRB Infra, Motilal Oswal, Central Bank of India, Bank of Maharashtra, Bharat Dynamics, Hudco and Cochin Shipyard, which could see an inflow of anywhere between 7 to 37 million US dollars. Apart from that, it's ICICI Bank, Kotak Mahindra Bank, AB Capital and Tata Tech, which would see inflows on the back of increase in their weightage. And among these four names, the two which are expected to see the highest inflow are ICICI Bank and Kotak Mahindra Bank. ICICI Bank is expected to see an inflow of close to 236 million US dollars, while Kotak Mahindra Bank is expected to see an inflow of close to 105 million US dollars. And lastly, Mahindra and Mahindra could see some outflows on the back of lower weightage in the FTSE index, and that outflow could be around 65 million US dollars as per IFL Alternative Research.
Okay, that's the take coming in on the FTSE rejig. I don't know if Sandeep Sabharwal is connected back with us. Okay, no, he will take some time. Just looking at some of the other movers, we've been discussing MGL, IGL, Hero MotoCorp and the strength on those stocks. But look at a Biocon today, that's down about almost 4%. Syngene as well, down 3% as we speak. In fact, I want to just bring up the constituents of the pharma index because they are definitely not having the best day today, other than Lupin, Cipla, which are only marginal outperformers. You've also got an Alchem, Lalpath Labs, Glenmark, Granules. It's all a sea of red as we speak right now. Kunal, your thoughts on pharma and anything if it's looking interesting?
I think larger cap names are the ones which are looking attractive. Lupin, Cipla, I think these stocks have confirmed breakouts. Even at current levels, the momentum is still intact into these stocks, and I think that's the the best part about riding these stocks in terms of a rally. There was a minor correction, I think, for the likes of Cipla just about a week back, 3%, 3.5% correction. But then the stock has digested that and moved up hard to make a fresh swing high, breaking about the 1650, 1670 mark today. And same is the case with the likes of Lupin, Sun Pharma. These are the charts which are looking much more strong at current levels. And when the sector gets into such a strong set of momentum, it's always prudent enough to try and have more weightage in terms of the leaders or the ones which are larger cap performers in the sector. So I think in that aspect, Cipla, Lupin as well as Sun Pharma are the ones which look attractive.
Okay, but what about Biocon? You missed that out, or you just deliberately not talking about the kind of decline that we're seeing on that one?
No, because that stock is very erratic. I've tracked the stock for quite a long time, and I think 390, 395 apparently in the last 2 weeks or so has been a major resistance. Yes, the stock has fallen down today on much higher volumes than what we've seen in the last 3-4 days. I think it's almost 92 lakhs of volumes in the cash segment for Biocon on the daily charts today, as compared to 80-85 in the last couple of days. So the selling is on the higher side, but then again in the last 3-4 days we've seen 390, 395 acting as a major resistance for the stock. So it's a better strategy for Biocon is to try and buy the stock when it comes back to the support point. Currently the support is around 360, 365 mark. So I'll wait for at least another 3% to 3.5% correction before going for a contra buy over here.
Vaishali, let's check in on the two big movers from yesterday. That was both BSE as well as MCX.
So yes, BSE, in fact, we were looking for a target of 3,500, and that's what we have seen. So to those who are still wanting to hold for a longer period of time, well, we have the next projected target of 4,000, 4,100. But for near term, I would suggest to book partial profit. And as far as MCX is concerned, well, we saw good momentum coming in today also. And I think there is still scope for further upside, but not a new buy strategy at this level. Well, as far as the indicators are showing, it is a regained momentum. So to those who are holding, should hold with a trailing stop loss.
Right. Okay, that's on MCX as well as BSE, the big buzzers from yesterday. Also looking at what the technology names are up to. While TCS Sure is mildly in the red, so is HCL Technologies, Coforce flat, Infeed flat, LTIM in the green though. So is the case with the Persistent as well as Emphasis. Vaishali, what about the IT index? And if you could just highlight what's looking like the stronger charts as opposed to the weaker ones?
So I would say yes, IT index has already shown a good run up, but it continues to show strength. So to my liking is HCL Tech because it has gradually shown a good upward move, and I think it's still ready for further upside. And I would say even for a long-term perspective, 1700 would act as a good support, and look for a target of 2000 to 2100.
So that's the bet coming in as far as the IT pack is concerned. But in terms of the few movers that are perking up in the last few minutes, Craftsman Automation is something that is definitely showing quite a bit of traction. We also have Kaplan Point in focus, so we are seeing a bit of a momentum on some of these names, and Blue Star and Prestige Estate were the ones which we were talking about earlier as well, and they are building onto momentum as we speak. Blue Star is coming off the lows as of now. In fact, talking about the losing side as well, there is Triveni Turbine which is down 6%, Godfrey Phillips is down 6%, so a bit of a profit booking there. And apart from Biocon, you also have HAL and BSC which are down in the trading session, and ditto can be said for JSW Energy and Suzlon Energy. In fact, energy as a basket is down today, so JSW, Suzlon, REC, they're all under pressure right now. Vaishali, your take on some of the power names right now? Would you be a buyer in any name? Is there a chart that looks the strongest?
No, in fact, I think one can get ready for a sell strategy because talking about REC, we have been closely tracking it. So if we see a close below 540, that could trigger a further weakness going towards 500 levels. So I'm not so positive on overall these power stocks.
Okay, and in fact, talking about the power sector, my colleague did manage to catch up with the management of IREDA. Let's hear out what they had to say about the stake dilution particularly.
We will be going for fresh issue because we require fresh capital for our net worth addition because we have to maintain a healthy CRAR. So post our IPO, our CRAR was 25%, it has come down to 20%. And the kind of disbursement plan what we have, our CRAR will further go down. So any ratio of below 18% is not a healthy signal. So we have to periodically pump in equity. So we have decided to infuse equity to the tune of 4,500 crore to 5,000 crore this year end. For that, whatever natural dilution will happen, that will happen for Government of India. Government of India is not going to sell anything. Automatic percentage dilution will happen. We have sought 10%, up to 10%. We are waiting, maybe in a couple of days we will be getting the approval.
Okay, that's the management of IREDA. In the meantime, some consolidation may be brewing in India's wealth management industry. That is what we learned from our sources, that the Swiss banking giant UBS is exploring options for a strategic partnership for its wealth management business in the country. And it is in talks with none other than 360 ONE. Anurag Joshi, my colleague, joins in with exclusive details.
Swiss banking giant UBS is seeking partnership options in India. It is looking for strategic partnership in India. And sources have told ET Now that UBS has had an exploratory discussion with Indian wealth management firm 360 ONE for a possible and potential equity purchase. And this proposal to purchase a stake is still at a very early stage, and after the discussion there is no progress on the matter. Now UBS left India about a decade back in 2014 when it had surrendered its banking license, and just last year it made the first steps of an entry back into India when at a global level UBS had acquired Credit Suisse. Just last month the RBI added UBS into the second schedule, and this to allow it to operate as a commercial bank in India. Now, if we look at 360 ONE, it has 7,400 high net worth and ultra high net worth clients, and it's got asset under management of over 5,20,000 crore rupees, and it has 28 offices both in India and overseas. And just in July, Nirmal Jain had left, had retired from 360 ONE as a director.
Okay, thanks Anurag for that. We'll keep tracking all of that happens. But on the gaining side, however, there are stocks like Blue Dart, Century Ply, Himadri, Canes. These are the ones which are actually perking up. You also have Thermax, Sobha, which is actually doing quite well. Nuvoco Vistas, that stock too is up 4% in the trading session. On the losing side, however, Godfrey Phillips, Triveni Turbine, Apar, BLS, Biocon, these are the names which are coming under pressure. But within financials as well, just tracking as to what's really making a big move, because of course Bajaj Housing Finance is doing quite well, and it's topped the market capitalization of almost 1.5 lakh crore. But come tomorrow, or actually day after for us, we will be reacting to that big news flow of the US Fed decision. 25 basis point or 50 basis point, that's the big question. And on an everyday basis, that probability is skewing to a large extent. If you were looking at the data 1 month ago, there was a clear majority that it's going to be a 25 basis point hike. Yesterday when I checked the probability, it was 50:50. Today morning, it's tilted in favor of 50 basis point, and there's 67% of the participants who are expecting a rate cut of 50 basis point, and only 33%. And all of that data will come up for you on the screen shortly at some point of time to discuss as to what the breakup is in terms of the expectations as well. But overall, the expectation is that there is going to be a rate cut and the initiation of that cycle after 4 years, because the last time we had seen was, of course, during the COVID time. But as we wrap up the trading session, a quick word from you, Kunal, as far as the market mood is concerned. We did try to hit that all-time high level multiple times today, but failed each and every time. What does it tell you about the market?
No, that's okay, because I think we're still trading about the 25,400 mark. So, give or take 40-50 points, would not probably impact the near-term trend for the indices, unless I think there is a negative price action which comes back from the global front. So I think what we are seeing right now is a much more state of calm across the globe, and that's, I think, adding to stable market cues over the very near term.
To highlight, in fact, Europe is actually doing quite okay. There too, the central bank decisions in focus. You've got the DAX, which is higher by over 100 points, and it's almost a 1% move for the FTSE, 7/10 for the CAC, FTSE MIB, 270 points higher, no less. So not looking bad at all. The US futures as well are doing quite okay, especially led by the Nasdaq, which is up over 100 points right now. and a smidge in the green for both the Dow as well as the S&P, but green nonetheless. So they're all bracing for the retail sales data and of course the big one, the Fed policy meeting. For our markets, pretty tempered, pretty quiet. MGL, IGL, Hero MotoCorp, Bajaj Auto, Birlasoft, these were all names which were the outperformers today. Bharti managed to eke out a fresh high for itself. There's ICICI Bank which did pretty well, Kotak, M&M, Britannia, L&T, they were all buzzers in trade but got dragged down on the other end by Tata Motors, Dani Ports, Tata Steel, Eicher as well as ITC, along with of course Biocon, HAL, REC, Syngene, Piramal Enterprises, which were all the underperformers in trade. So closing in absolutely flat for the day, but hopefully there are signs of better global cues that we're going to wake up to. So we'll pick it up tomorrow morning. Thanks so much for watching.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.